Welcome to the LANCave where we're living as nerds. I'm Patrick, joined by Owen.
Hello. Yeah. The Vita lives.
Yes, it does. I am so happy the Vita and that PS3. And I'll admit, these devices have gotten a lot of action the past couple weeks from myself. I think a lot of other people, but I think that's one of the biggest stories in the news this week, at least regards to gaming. We had other pretty big stuff happening in the news. But what do you think? How's your week been?
You know, as much as I can't wait to dive in and talk about some Sony, dude, Game Pass, bro. I know you laughed at my status update because I'm a Squaresoft, now Square Enix shill for life. Outriders, dude, I strongly suggest you check it out.
I'm gonna have to, I think, yeah.
I'm playing the game completely solo so far. I have not tried to join any online things. I have no desire to do it. If you have any experience with the likes of Tom Clancy's The Division, it feels kind of like that game, except instead of being a realistic game like The Division where it's in New York or Washington, it's in space on a planet. And I think that's the appealing part for me, is that it takes the realism part out of it and it's totally sci-fi. But it is really annoying that it is all online. It's a completely online game, so you have to connect to the internet to play. You can't play the campaign solo in that way. But I'm not playing with people. There's nobody in my server.
Sure.
It's just the game is connected. But there's something there. There's something generic about it, but at the same time, I'm really digging it.
Generic can work. I mean, there's a reason that people keep going back in regards to the fantasy tropes. People going back to that, that European, knights and dragons thing works. From sci-fi, certain tropes work as well. So yeah, I mean, there's an element to, it's like, it's okay that it's a little generic in regards to this, but if there's some other appeal, if the gameplay is just completely tight, if the reward system, like the looting system, is good. I haven't jumped in yet. I kept saying that I was going to, and I didn't. But I'm seeing so much positivity from this. And Game Pass got it for free. People buying it on PS5. I mean, if you don't have a Xbox.
That's the thing, is I literally never, because I'm not like, aside from playing some Borderlands, I'm not a big looter shooter kind of guy, and I wouldn't have tried it if it wasn't available on Game Pass. And this was a day and date Game Pass game. This is a AAA game available from a third party via Game Pass, and it got me to play, and I've put probably 5, 6, 7 hours into it. I'm playing as a Trickster, if anybody's looking on the screen right now. About 2 weeks. I'm playing as the Trickster, which is so satisfying, like the blade thing that's showing on the screen right now, but really the best one is when you get the power that this one right here. You jump behind the enemy, you blast them with a shotgun. So satisfying. You're just it's nice. There's a story to it that, again, so far I haven't been forced to play with anyone.
I mean, I was about to say I've been, but it's been a while since I played it. But I played Remnant from the Ashes, which was a I guess technically sci-fi, dystopian future third-person shooter Souls-like, but it's like a shooter Souls-like, and it was really good. Some of the gameplay in this actually reminds me of that, not in regards to the difficulty, obviously, but in regards to that, I don't know, that visceral feel of like taking down some alien stuff like this. Like, it's almost like that mixed with some I don't know, Gears of War, but obviously, with the not being quite the same.
If you're going to balance it out, then you could also play some first-party Sony-developed game via Game Pass day one and MLB The Show. That's the other thing that I've been... I started that. That literally came out yesterday.
It's like, what is reality, man?
I'm terrible at it.
Yeah.
I am absolutely terrible at it, but I got it again. Game Pass. Like, do I have any excuse not to try every AAA game that comes out on Game Pass? That's the thing, is I think with this new gen... we've been talking about it a lot. I've been saving a bunch of money by by not buying stuff, I bought some small stuff on the Vita when I thought the store, you can't see my hand, on my precious Vita when I thought the store was going to close. I bought some like $9.99 games, a couple $15 games, but I haven't bought anything AAA yet so far this year that isn't on Nintendo. I did just pre-order Pokemon Snap for my wife's birthday next week.
Nice.
So that'll be something we're playing. I did buy Bowser's Fury as well, but AAA wise, I'm not buying anything because why should I have to if they're gonna put it on Game Pass?
They're giving it to you. It's crazy, and in you know, we say X gonna give it to you, and rest in peace on that. But seriously, like, they keep bringing. First of all, this is just weird. It's weird because it's PlayStation developed, published onto Xbox. Obviously, you know, they had specific contracts they had to adhere to, but it's odd. But it's a weird time to be alive. I'm terrible at these games. Like you said, you're bad at it. I should probably try it just to try it. Because
it's on Game Pass, bro.
It's
Why
on Game
not?
Pass. Because I played sports games, and we were messaging about this earlier this week. I've not been good at sports games since like right after the N64, and like for some reason, actually, you know what? Now there's some PlayStation 2, NBA Streets. That one was good, but the other ones, like it's like the realism came in, and I couldn't, you know, it wasn't arcadey enough. Like, give me NBA Jam, what was that
NBA Street
on NES, baseball,
RBA baseball.
Yeah, old school. Like that game was great, even though it was like, you know, it wasn't that great, but at the same time it was really great for the time. The realism, like, I've not been able to get this to work. I guess wrestling games I'm alright at, but the last Madden game that I played was just terrible. That is different. Yeah, it's sports entertainment. It's a little different. You've been doing that. I've been playing some Vita. I've been playing some Metal Gear Solid Acid.
Yeah, talk to me about the Vita, bro.
I didn't know this thing existed. And by the way, another bonus to being able to hacking your Vita is you can via USB push that to your computer. So that's only the video. The audio you're gonna have to do via an aux cable. But if you mod your Vita, you can push your video over to your PC and capture video. Or if you just want to play on a larger screen than the Vita. But no, I've been playing in handheld. Metal Gear Solid Acid, which is not for everyone, but it's totally for me because it is a card game. It's like collectible card strategic tactical Metal Gear game. So all of my actions.
It really reminds me of Hitman Go.
It's kind of like Hitman Go, except you get some options because like you have your like, okay, you can go here, you can go there. Those are all based on cards. So every card you can either use it as it's supposed to be used, or you can use it to move. So most of these actions that I'm doing, I'm using to just move from place to place, because the timing's not right. You were talking about the Hitman Go, like I'm waiting my turn, and you can see like their line of sight. If they see me, I'm gonna, I could have a problem. So I equipped like a stealthing suit just to see have that stealth suit. It's difficult though because just like Metal Gear, like you're not supposed to go in guns blazing. So the only problem that I have on it is there's still some chance, or based on their armor and equipment that they have. So if I come up, and I think it happens here in just a second, I come up like right behind a guy and shoot him in the back of the head, and I think this is the one where he like gets up, and I was just like, that doesn't make sense. Like if I'm stealthed and I apparently I kept waiting to get the right timing on this, but there was one where I think it's this one where I shoot him, the side of the head, point blank, and it's like certain things where I'm like, no, that should have been a kill.
That's where it's more RPG based.
It's a little bit more RPG based, but again, if you've hacked your Vita, Adrenaline lets you do save states. So if you're playing a PSP game on your Vita, you can do a save state. So like I did a save state at this point, around this point in the level, where I'm like, I'm happy where I am, but this could go south and I want to be able to restart right here without having to go through the dialogue again, where they talk about the mission and Snake asks asks questions to Rogers, the guy you're talking to. I'm not familiar with the story at all, but I'm a Metal Gear fan, so I like that aspect. And okay, apparently I end a lot here. I thought I had that queued up for. Okay, this should be when I move towards them, but it's good. I like it, but that's the only frustrating part is that RPG aspect will will get you.
So did you have to buy this through the Vita store?
I did find the ISO because I couldn't buy it through the Vita store.
Oh, the PSP store. So.
I tried to connect to the PSP store, but I don't have a PSP. I have a PS Vita.
Right.
So it wouldn't let me get in the PSP store, so I did not have a way to buy it. So this is technically an ISO that I found. But I will
we don't encourage that, by the way.
Oh, you don't encourage that.
You do whatever you want, audience.
I'm probably gonna buy it because I want to support it, and also over here I picked up Metal Gear Solid Collection. Robert picked it up for Vita, but the Vita version only has 2 of the games, but the PS3 one has Metal Gear Solid, like OG Metal Gear Solid, and a few others that. Actually, that one comes digital too. I think he got like a 3-pack or something. This one comes with 9 freaking games. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get that. That was discounted, and I'm okay with. I had to install.
I've considered buying the HD collection, even though I think I'll probably never ever play it. But literally just because it doesn't exist anywhere else. Like, where else do you get the Metal Gear HD collection? It's like I know that the store is gonna live on.
Yeah.
At least for a while until they decide to shut it down again, because that's the thing. They, what was their like official statement?
Official statement
going
was like
into the news. Yeah,
they said something. They were saying something. The fact I'm bringing this up as well. They were basically saying like that.
Here we go.
Let's see. Yeah, go ahead.
Jim Ryan says we notified players that we're going to shut this down the store. Upon further reflection, it's clear that we made the wrong decision. So we're going to be keeping the PS3 and PS Vita devices. PSP commerce still going to retire. We initially came to the decision. It was born out of a number of factors. It's mainly the commerce thing, as was told in that Reddit AMA that I mentioned yesterday, is that's the most expensive part of it, is the commerce. Yeah. And then Sony recognized the position its fans possess for purchasing classic styles. So basically, what I'm wondering is, are they trying to like not do backwards compatibility? Is that the more expensive play? And like they're just like, okay, well, we don't know when we're going to solve that problem. So for now,
I think that's what it is.
We'll keep the store open even though you all aren't using it. So I will say, if you have a PS3 and PS Vita, go buy a game. I'm not telling you to give Sony your money, but in terms of showing them that you want it around. As soon as I saw it, I was going to buy some more games before the store shut down in August, but I went and picked up Valkyria Chronicles 2 on there that day just to be like, look, here's me using your commerce through your really crappy Vita store. I'm still gonna do it, but
no, I think you're spot on. I think they saw the uptick in people buying digitally because people who have these consoles bought digitally because they were concerned. One, you have the digital, the purchases. Two, you have people who are downloading in anticipation because they said, yes, you'll be able to download. But a bunch of people like us were like, yeah, but how long? Because the way that they usually do that is they say, okay, well, we're going to shut this down, but you're still going to be able to download. And then we'll shut this down, but you'll still be able to do. It's usually done in pieces like that. And then eventually, they push you off the system. I think they realized PS3 is still going strong. Is this 12 years later? I think. So 12 years later, PS3 is still, like, people are still using them. People are still concerned with them. People who have people can't get PS5s. People still enjoying their PS4s, and some people enjoying PS3. Plus, you also have a lot of these games are not on PS4, where PS4, for the most part, is backwards compatible on PS5. By the way, Hitman Go is not playable on PS5. Did you know that?
I did know that because it wasn't, there was something about the compatibility, so I did download that on my Vita.
Yeah. that irritating. Yeah, I played.
It's so dumb.
I picked it up. I got it on my Vita. I mean, I picked it up. I already own it. I'm
gonna go platinum it again, probably. I platinum it on PS4. I'll probably platinum it on Vita.
Yeah, I don't think I've platinum it. I'll have to double check and see if that's a platinum on mine. I love that game though. So
it's so good. Like,
yeah.
did you play Lara Croft Go?
I didn't. I need to play that because I
also
love Go.
Really solid.
Yeah.
They also did Deus Ex Go, which for some dumb reason they decided to make that a mobile game. So Deus Ex Go, if you like the Deus Ex universe, is on mobile, which I think was just absolute. Now that I've actually been playing with my backbone a lot with my phone with the controller, it's something that I would consider playing. A couple of years ago, I was like, why would you do this? Like, you have the other Go games on there, but Lara Croft Go also very, very good. I'm hoping that this keeps Vita prices relative, because I've been thinking of purchasing a backup just for having. I bought this last year on eBay from Japan, shipped it over on a tugboat, $150. I'm looking right now, the prices for 2000, which is what these are, the non-OLEDs, are around $200. So they have jumped a little bit, but I'm hoping that means that the prices won't go too high.
Yeah, I agree with you, because like I've been considering getting backup Vita as well, and because it's working well. There aren't but I think the Vita owners are so passionate that, like you said, the value, or at least for what people are selling them for, it keeps going up. Where PS3s, I can get a PS3 for relatively cheap. I say relatively cheap, but I could get a PS3 Slim, not a fat, but PS3 Slim for relatively cheap. I am considering, by the way, I know that they are continuing with the store. I am considering replacing the CMOS battery in this Slim, because that PS3 Slim is my first PS3, my only PS3 I've ever had. So I'm like, it's right at the age where it could have an issue, and it's gotten some decent play time back in the day. So I've considered replacing it. In that case, it shouldn't be too difficult. But
Robert, do you try and buy when you already have games queued up? Because that's the only time I had trouble buying. Robert in the chat says he still gets errors, and unless you're talking about PS3, which I did find
junk.
I found on Reddit a problem where the purchase button wasn't showing up for Patrick, and it was a thing where it's like, just press X and the purchase will happen. And so that's something to look into. I thought it was the fact that I was using PayPal at first on Vita, but it was the fact that I had stuff in my queue. So if your queue is full, like even your notifications, go clear out your download notifications and try it with a completely blank thing, because I had about 50 notifications of just like, your game is ready to install. So I actually that was also weird, where you downloaded the game and it just didn't install. You had to actually physically open that game to install it. So it is still jank, but there's a one that I think that the video that Patrick's doing right now, Astro Aqua Kitty, that game literally just came out last week on Vita. So I'm going to pick it up, because it was going to be one of the last games to ever come out on Vita. That still might be the case. So I think it's $14.99. I'm going to go buy that here on my next paycheck, just because somebody managed to put out a Vita game. So why not? It looks like I think its description was it was a RPG shmup. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just going to extend the life cycle, like we mentioned on the show last week and the week before. This is PlayStation's first like online store. Obviously it's evolved, but what we mean is, like, you can still buy PS3 games on here. You couldn't buy PS2 games online, but you could buy PS3 games, and this was a new thing at the time. To take that away, there were a lot of people who've been passionate about, like, you're taking these games away, the preservation. For people who didn't get a chance to play these, can't go back and play them unless there's a version on a disc, and then they've got to go retro game hunt, which is a different it's a different mindset of going out and finding those retro games. Is cool in its own, but it's not as convenient and it makes it more accessible for these. They need to do something on the prices, though. They need to fix the store, make it at least workable. But the prices are insane, man.
I was going to bring that up. I really hope that by keeping it open, they will be pushed to put more stuff on sale. I realize, though, that part of that is on the developer. So what actually happened last week when so for some reason Sony won't let you like cut your prices. There was a thing that's going around about that. So, or they won't let you put your games on sale. So what some people did, and I want to bring up, I'm trying to find the actual game titles, but I can't find it in this particular second. But what they did was they actually just cut the price. So instead of putting their game on sale, they changed the price from like $19.99 to $14.99 or something like that as a permanent price cut to their game. Yeah. And so I'm hoping that more devs that are at least still around are willing to do that, because I have a couple games. I know that I could get it on PS4 now because they re-released it, but Odin Sphere, before they released that on PS4, it's $39.99 on Vita. I want it on the Vita, but I just don't want to drop $40 on a Vita game right now.
Yeah, so I did a sort on here. I don't think it was here. I did a sort on as I was going through the store, because I literally recorded this just to be like, hey, let's just show you what the store looks like.
Sure.
For those who hadn't been in the store in a long time, I think it may be right here. I go to all games, I search for Vita specifically, and then I did a sort by price just to see. I think this is it. So going to look at that, 1,100 Vita games, 1,300 PS3 games. Like, there's almost as much Vita as there is PS3, and some of the games are cross-platform. Sorry, so I looked here a little bit, and then I switched to price, so you can see like the most expensive Vita games. Again, look, $65, $50. I'm not saying that games aren't worth that much, but seriously,
yeah,
like $60, and I think this is where I did the sort, and you'll see. Oh, not newest. Okay, sorry. I guess I did a couple before that. Astro, yeah. So I'll probably grab that. I may grab that as well. Here you go. So I know our heads are like in the way. $80, $85, $65, 60.
$49.99.
Right, for a digital deluxe edition of a game. And I'm sorry. I'm just saying, I don't think it's worth that much. I mean, some of the games are great, like Danganronpa. I kept seeing that listed on here, realized they're delisted, so I can get it on PS4, so I'm okay with that. I think there's one that's on Vita that is not on any of the others. They were all delisted in regards to some like contractual thing in regards to distribution. I don't know all the details on. So that previously was, I think, $40 or $50 for a bundle of 2 games, and I'm like, I still don't know how to feel about that. I still think that's steep for some of them. Here you go. PS3, Resident Evil 0 is $20 on PS3. You can buy Resident Evil 0 on PS4. I want to say I think it's $20, but it goes down to 10 like regularly. So,
all the time.
And I did check when Resident Evil had like every game on discount like a couple weeks ago, and I checked on the PS3, none of those same games were discounted on PS3, but they were discounted on PS4. I feel like they're not watching the store anymore. They just wanted to let it die.
No, this is what I was talking about, where Sony apparently ended sales on those consoles, and that's where they have like the game makers have to go in and do like that permanent price cut. And that's the only way you can get a discount. So I'm hoping that they actually allow some discounts to occur. There actually is a few things on sale right now. Yeah. You can go get things that are cross-buy still on discount, like Hotline Miami. Those things are still available, but they're not allowing direct sales through the Vita.
Yeah, and that's dumb. For PS3, for Vita, I mean, there's some great games that, especially if you're keeping the store up. I know that sounds counterintuitive, where you're like, no, if you're keeping the store up, don't discount it. No, discount a little bit, get some traffic over there. Vita owners are passionate people. Jeremy in the comments saying even with a disc, you still have to be able to connect to the internet. PS3, that is the case. But if your CMOS battery is still good, and did check in at some point, you're okay. But if they take down the servers and your CMOS battery dies, you're toast. You can't use any games, digital or disc. PS4 is the same way. And I didn't think about this until earlier this week. You got your fancy Xbox, and so did I. The first thing that happens when you boot that, when you set it up, is it needs to connect to the internet to check in and register itself.
Mm-hmm.
So if, let's say, 20 years from now, that's a retro console because it's old, whatever. If they've shut down that server and you have to factory reset that device or whatever, like you had to, do some hardware repairs, and then you log in, you can't check into the server. You can't go any further. So hopefully Microsoft patches that. Hopefully Sony patches. I don't think they're going to patch the PS3, but I hope Microsoft patches that and Sony patches the PS5. So that way we could use them in the future, because I plan on hanging on to them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But
anyways,
good for
Sony
though. At least changing their mind for now. I expect them to change it back at some point. But what I really think, I think it's a stopgap until they figure out how they're going to implement backwards compat like that. And I know that Sony has expressed that they don't necessarily care about that, but when their competitor is making a very clear fight on backwards compatibility, like, again, from what I've seen, it's the fact that as much as you might want backwards compatibility, the fact of the matter is people don't buy it. And whenever I say that, I'm speaking very generally. People obviously do buy it. I've bought 10 video games in the past month since they said they were going to shut down the store, so I do buy old games, but for the most part people don't buy old games. It's just I don't know why Microsoft's doing it other than just goodwill, but when your competitor's doing it, you got to do something. And so for now, I think this is them conceding and saying, okay, fine, we'll leave it open, go buy your third-party Vitas and throw us $10 once a year, and whenever you get nostalgic, and we'll live with that for right now.
I wish that I know we talked about PS Now having there's PS3 games on that, but they stream, so it's not as I'm plan on checking that out and trying it out. I haven't tried PS Now in forever, so I haven't tried it in 4 years or something. 5 years. So I may go check it out. I don't think it's near as good as Game Pass or anything, but I may check it out just to see, okay, how have they come forward as a company. Hopefully, it doesn't have as much lag. Speaking of streaming things, bouncing over a little bit in regards to Microsoft Game Pass Ultimate, the Xcloud Beta opening up selectively yesterday. I did not get an email on it. I
didn't either.
Times. It's like, but we're the people that need that you want to send that to Microsoft, because we're gonna tell 15 people on the internet, and I can't
tell Robert
wait.
and Jeremy and be like, hey guys,
there's our great fans that are with us every week, and our podcast listeners who, by the way, totally tweet at us, because I know there's a lot of people who listen to our podcast who are just enjoying it quietly. At least I hope they're enjoying it. We have a nice base there, but I would love to be able to take my Game Pass Ultimate games to stream on a browser, which is what this is. Streaming Windows 10 and Apple devices, but not Android, correct?
I think it's browser based. Android already has it through. You can stream xCloud through the Xbox app on Android. You don't need browser based. So this is Windows. The thing about Windows that makes this a big deal is because it's how you can do console Game Pass through Windows, because you can already do PC Game Pass through Windows, but now you can play your console Game Pass games. So the likes of MLB The Show, which is a console exclusive on xCloud right now, as opposed to PC, because it's not a PC game. I want to play Outriders in bed. I tried to do Outriders through streaming through my Xbox, and so the problem with that being an always online game is that I was streaming the Xbox to my phone and then doing the up down of the game. I want to play Outriders. I want to see if an always online game like that'll work. If not, I still have other Game Pass games to play. I don't care. I want more options in bed now. Now that I have the Backbone, this is a weird year, Patrick. Can you remember August of last year? I'm like, I'm not gonna buy an Xbox. I don't want one. You can't get me to do it, Microsoft. What are you doing? And then here I am. I want to pay Game Pass. I also, when did we play mobile games aside from the Switch?
I have historically badmouthed mobile in so many ways, but the reason that I usually badmouth mobile is, one, usually the games aren't made very well, and two, it's not comfortable. And
shout out to Fantasian.
Yeah, so
you can't play it because you're on Android, but Fantasian's awesome.
Yeah, I can't. But between my Razer Kishi and the Switch, I mean, the Switch was like, okay, this is comfortable enough. I don't sit and play handheld games for more than 45 minutes or an hour anyways. I don't know if you do. Usually it's kind of it's handheld, so it's kind of shorter stint. But I can play much more comfortably on the Kishi than for those of you who don't know what we're talking about. Backbone is what Owen has in regards to being able to play on his iPhone. Razer Kishi also has a similar apparatus, which will work for iPhone or Android. The Backbone does not work for Android, so I had to go with a different one. Very similar, very nice. Honestly, yours. But so does yours expand? So this is my only drawback to mine. I'm sure you saw videos of this already. I'm going to go to the together, so I'm a little bigger here. There's a thing in the back. These little tabs right here. So you got to pull both these tabs, and then it does this, right? But it's kind of flimsy.
It's loose. I get that.
Now once you're on, you're good. It stretches a little bit. And once you're on, you're good. But this just doesn't feel for $80. This doesn't feel like $80, and it's only because they were trying to allow it to wrap around different size phones. Once it's on my phone, it's good. It's great. It's a decent size too.
Honestly, though, yours goes more compact than mine do, because this is a hard plastic base, and so that's as small as it's ever going to get. And then, honestly, taking it off sometimes is a little bit frustrating because I feel like I'm going to break it when I pull it out. But I hope it doesn't ever happen. But
design
Backbone
decisions.
has the app. That's what I love so far, is the app.
Yeah, like this. I threw this in my. We took a little staycation. It didn't work out the way we wanted, but we took a little staycation, and I threw this in my bag. And I'm like, you know what? If the wife takes a nap, because the wife takes naps, and if she takes a nap, and everything's downtime, I will test remote play off the internet to play my console while I'm somewhere else, because I've been playing on the LAN. It's been great. Didn't get a chance to test it. That being said, you were talking about streaming off your console, streaming from your console to your device. Great. Streaming on Xcloud on my Android has been okay. I'm assuming Outriders would be meh. It's just
I just want to try it.
Yeah, we're used to that 60 frames now, and now where it's like there's a slight bit of lag, and I'm like, I'm done. Like I can't. I'm spoiled.
I did try the show on it, and I already was terrible at the show to begin with. But in terms of hitting, whenever you're trying to hit with that little lag, so I will say, I played Slay the Spire though, which definitely recommend that game on Game Pass. That game is perfect. That card game one that I recommended you to try. It's not a game. It's a turn-based game. It's the same reason why, even though Fantasian is not streaming, Fantasian in terms of the RPG, it's a turn-based RPG that I'm playing through Apple Arcade. So you do have to take some of that with a grain of salt. I wouldn't necessarily play multiplayer games, but who knows? I think it only gets better with 5G. I think when 5G is when the 5G infrastructure is more there, we're not going to be talking about this lag problem at all.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree, and I'm hopeful because I could go on a friggin' rant about this, but your internet connection is not just about your connection and what you've contracted. It's everything in between, and there's just slight dips where there's so many things that can cause issues. 5G, I think, is going to make it a lot more stable in regards to the connection from that tower or wherever to you. So much better, because even just what's up?
There was an event for Apple yesterday. I don't know if you saw that at all, but there was a montage video thing showing how you could be always connected with the new iPad Pro, and there was a speed test that ran in there. The speed test showed 3,000 Mbps, and I was like, I want to live where that guy lives. Where is this? And they were out in the middle of the ocean or something with a 3,000 mega. I was like, give me that 5G connection, bro. Like, let's hook that up.
Okay, so when that happens with 5G, which, by the way, I have coworkers who do this because I work from home. I have coworkers who are they have the regular internet connection, and then they got like a 5G or they have a 4G hotspot or whatever. One of them, I think, is either getting or has a 5G hotspot now, because they rolled it out. Now, we don't have that here, but when they do roll it out, I may double dip there and be like, I want my regular internet connection, at least for a while. Let's see if this is better for work. Because if the 5G works, if I can get 5G and can have my entire house set up on it, then I'm totally going to do that instead. But I'm concerned about the stability when it comes to like working and having to do
especially
that.
once you start doing VPN. I don't know if you have to do a VPN for work, but I do. Yeah, so when you start doing a VPN and you throw your connection to another state or country, that starts that's where messing that up.
Yeah, that's where I'm like, side note on that, I'm still researching. This is going to be a slow play, but I'm looking, speaking of VPN, I'm looking at, well, one, I'm going to probably redo this wall, but two, I'm looking at redoing my networking in the house. And by that, I don't mean like running cables, but I'm looking at routers that I can use that are mesh, because I'm using mesh and I love it. B, I want to be able to run a VPN off of my router. Everything behind my router, to be able to VPN it, and I can turn it off, on and off. But to be able to turn a VPN on and protect everything coming out of my house, because I'm doing it on individual devices. But the idea of, if you forget to turn on your VPN, or if you have people in your house who don't have a VPN, or they definitely will forget, that you're not as protected. So I'm thinking about doing that. And then also, because my TV can't do it, then I can change on my VPN and change the country of origin so I can watch different things in streaming. Because people tout that all the time, and I'm like, that's great if you're watching on your PC. But if you're watching on your flat screen, how are you VPNing to do that?
Chromecast.
Yeah, I guess that would work. But
then I recently did this for... I recently did this for to test for, so you don't watch a lot of sports, but in the world of sports, you can't at least with actually everything, baseball, basketball, football, you can't be in your own local area and watch your local sports team if you pay for the streaming service. So if you didn't know, T-Mobile gives MLB TV away for free every single year. I can't watch the Texas Rangers in my area because I live here, because it's blacked out. I can watch. I also can't watch the Astros because they're in Houston. So you do a VPN, tell MLB TV that you're in Canada or whatever, and you can Chromecast it to your TV that way. So that's how you do it. It's stupid that you have to do that, but that's in terms of what you're talking about, in terms of streaming. If your only goal is to stream different libraries, I think you're going to find a lot easier time just turning the VPN on your computer and doing a Chromecast.
Probably. No, but the main reason was,
again, not that we're telling you how to spoof all your stuff and hack all your Vitas and do all that.
Not at all. Not at all. But speaking of that, I do find it funny though, because we talk about doing the VPN and stuff like that. This was like maybe 5 years ago or so. My dad had because Verizon, he has Verizon Fios for his cable, for his internet and everything. And it's back when I lived in Texas, and he was like, "Hey, there's an app." Because I cut cable years ago, and he's like, "There's a Verizon Fios app that do you want to see if it'll work at your house?" And I'm like, "Cool, I'll check that out." And they could tell based on my IP, they wouldn't let me access the app.
Right.
which I again like that's because Verizon was making it to not so that way you didn't have to have a cable box. It was not made to roam, where Netflix is totally made to roam. Hulu, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
PlayStation TV was the same way. You had to be watching from your address.
Yeah, so I tried PlayStation TV for a little bit. I just didn't. It wasn't bad. I just realized that I can't watch live. I'm so not used to watching live TV that it's like painful. Like we just I've my habits are now of like I'm going to stream and I don't want to watch commercials.
And Jeremy in the chat mentioning signing up for YouTube TV and spoofing that way. So there's different ones that you can do. Again, we're totally not encouraging this. You have to do this at your own risk.
Yeah.
Even if it is a very common thing.
It's a very common thing that it's touted. And it's just
I tapped into 2 years of Surfshark I bought 2 years of Surfshark for $60, so that's what I'm doing right now.
That's a good price point for it. That's a good Surfshark, Nord, and a few others are good stuff. So did you get that like through? Not that you have to shout out anybody. Was it like a specific like podcast or YouTuber? Because a lot of them get like subscriptions. Okay, a lot of them.
No, I just went straight to the website.
Okay, I say a lot of them are like because if you do that, then they get a little kickback. So, yeah,
I should have looked into that, but none of the people I listen to have ever mentioned that before. And you know what else has never ever been mentioned before?
What's that?
PS Plus adding video. Do you have any interest in your PS Plus subscription giving you movies and TV? Which, by the way, Sony recently pulled from the store.
Yeah, which is why I grabbed this. I've been downloading, by the way, trailers like this where I'm like, they may pull this trailer. I'm going to throw it on a hard drive. So this was the PlayStation Store, as you mentioned, with the videos. Okay, if they're giving me, here's the thing. If it's PlayStation Plus, and they're saying you get this as part of your library, I don't. It depends on what they're giving me. If they're adding something similar to a Netflix-ish thing, I guess I don't know. Like I don't know if it's something that I'll even care about because I have my own Plex server. I have control over everything there, and if the digital stuff that I have done, like I forget where the digital movie or TV show is. So I stopped doing it, like because it takes me too long to think about where did I put this. You mentioned you have a system that like, or do you have them like all in one place? Because you have digital copies, right?
I use Movies Anywhere for movies.
Yeah.
So that's an app.
Yeah.
That's a service that is bought into by several different movie companies. So you can use Movies Anywhere on different ones, and then after that, I use like Vudu but now Apple TV is available everywhere. So by the way, what I'm talking about is there was a leaked image from Sony's Polish website that says PlayStation Plus Video Pass, and then it was quickly taken down. Honestly, what it told me, and I didn't see this mentioned anywhere, but for those who don't know, Sony owns Funimation and Crunchyroll. So Funimation bought Crunchyroll at the end of last year for like $1 billion. I was thinking, what if they were expanding PS Plus into giving you anime subs?
That would be so, and that's where I think it would be appealing to throw things on there like that, especially if it's Funimation, if it is content, because one, it needs to be content that people like. Not that necessarily it has to be niche, but it kind of needs to be enough that people know why you're going there for something. There's that
image. Yeah,
there's what they throw on that image. I feel like if they do something, it needs to be niche like that, and I think anime may be a niche that fits the bill for them. So Crunchyroll, Funimation, like that would work really well. Like if you're like PS Plus and you get this and some other things, but I think if they had a few, I guess distributors, I guess be technically, if they had a few people that were like distributors like that bought in and said, yeah, we'll put our content on there, I think that would work. My question, I guess, would be, I mean, if I get to keep it, I mean, they took away the store just to bring something else, and I don't know if it's specifically because people weren't buying, but do people want to use PlayStation for that type of media? I feel like everyone gets kind of into an ecosystem that they're comfortable with, and they stay there. When it comes to owning, when it comes to streaming, is a little different bit of a story. But do you think people will actually go to the PlayStation ecosystem for this type of content, or would they just get Crunchyroll?
No, I don't think anybody goes for this type of content. What I think that it says is they recognize that they need to put more value out there with Plus. I mean, what are we saying at the top of this thing? I said that Game Pass, baby. Like, I understand that this isn't the Game Pass. By the way, this isn't an answer to Game Pass, but I think if they were to do something like this is Sony acknowledging that they need to do something. They may not have their Game Pass answer yet, but by the way, go stack your PS Plus memberships for $30 via CD Keys. CD Keys, just sponsor us at this point.
I have 2.5 years worth of Game Pass because of CD Keys, and
I'm through 2024 on PS Plus and 2023 on Game Pass Ultimate.
There you go. If it goes, because what happens is they'll go on sale where it's like 53% off, 56% off. I'm like, I can't say no to that.
No.
I can't say no to giving them that much, giving them a little bit of money like that, and then continuing to have Game Pass. PlayStation Plus, I'm not as far as you, but yeah, it's the value is there for Game Pass. I feel like you're right. Sony needs to do something. Sony needs to do something because Xbox, as you mentioned, you're saying like, okay, well, retro older gaming, not necessarily retro gaming. That's a different story. But people buying games from 2 generations ago or 3 generations ago, I guess technically retro. It doesn't happen as often as people want to play the new hotness. However, if you take the retro games, you take your existing library, bring it with you, streaming your games online and a really cheap subscription, and now with Xcloud being to the point where those Game Pass games eventually you'll be able to play them anywhere, meaning you don't have to have an Xbox, you can just play them on your PC. What is Sony going to say is like, okay, but we have this. What is that? Because right now it's the blockbuster games. It's the blockbuster games that we talked about last week. Sony's putting all, like, we want these too big to fail games. We want these giant, amazing games, which, you know what? They're good. But if you have to choose one ecosystem versus another, and one of them is giving you all of those things, it's really hard to make the decision, unbiased decision, to go with Sony. I love me some Sony, but yeah, Jeremy selling Dogecoin, buying 5 years worth.
Just drop the link in there for you, bud.
I made $380 on Dogecoin. So,
ooh,
and then I got out.
Did you buy your wife a steak dinner?
No, but I did. So we're really bad about like keeping secrets. I did buy a book. It's a 50. It's called the Adventure Book or something, and it's like these date ideas. So I did that.
Sorry, just no. I want to mention also, just since we're talking about this, yeah. I don't know all the details of it because it literally just came out, I think, like earlier this afternoon. But Sony also, with Sony Pictures, because that's the other thing. When it comes to Sony being a different type of company, that they have a lot of different media prospects. So they have anime, but they also have a big movie deal. They just pinned something with Disney to bring a lot of their movies to Disney Plus. And so I wonder also if that includes, though, something like where it just gave me the thought that in addition to anime, they have a lot of movie titles. What if they started just putting those on PS Plus somehow? Like, even though they've shut down their store that people made, they obviously still have access to the digital rights to their movies. So what if they just pushed them? You know, it's like, hey, just somehow put it in the PlayStation store and was like, here, add free movies to your PlayStation Plus account. I'm not opposed to it. Whatever, you know. I'm stacking years of PS Plus, so whatever you want to give me for my $30 a year, Sony, I don't care. Yeah. I want it. I would rather it be some type of PS Now combination. But if that's not the play yet, you know, that's perfectly fine. Yeah. You got Xbox over here dropping their thing, which Sony already did, by the way. I don't think Sony gets enough credit for this. If you wanted to play Fortnite or Apex Legends or I don't know, something else that's free to play,
Rocket
you
League.
had to have Xbox Live Gold, which does cost money to play that. Previously, you didn't have to have PlayStation Plus. Sony got rid of this a long time ago, and again, don't think they get enough credit for that. But as of I think today, if you do not want to pay for Xbox Live Gold, you can still, your kids and stuff, especially, this is what I'm thinking of. If you got your kid that Series S or whatever, and you don't want to pay for Gold, they can play their Fortnite for free.
Yeah,
completely free.
Yeah, and that is perfect because it's 2021. PC gamers have been laughing about this for like over a decade. Like, why are you paying for online ability to play a game online that you own? Unless you're playing something like an MMO, there's really no reason for it. In some, especially with the advent of microtransactions in games like Fortnite that run off of that. I think it's great that they're doing that, especially for parents who are like, if they have free to play games that the kids want to play, or they have games the kids want to play that have a multiplayer aspect, to not have to be locked into a subscription, I think is great. That being said, the value of Game Pass, like we've just been talking about, I think is considerable for those parents. Going on to CD keys, get your subscription, and your kid has all these games. Obviously, you can do parental controls and stuff, but I think it's important to do that. And I think between that and them changing Xbox Gold to being the network, I think they're going in that direction of being like, you're no longer paying for our network. You're no longer paying for the network in regards to the free to play games and all that kind of stuff. They're trying to distance themselves from that, I think.
Well, see, I will say this though: Gold isn't included in Game Pass; it's included in Game Pass Ultimate. So
yes.
This would be a thing though if you're looking to spend as little money as possible on your kid's machine. Gold, or just doing Game Pass, is $9.99 a month. If you were previously doing that, it would be $9.99 a month plus Gold, I think, is $60 a year. So I think that still works out to $15 if you wanted to do Ultimate. But if you're trying to go the cheapest route possible, they can play their Fortnite and their Apex online, and then if you want them to have basically offline games, otherwise Game Pass itself is $9.99. Now Ultimate does include Gold, and it also includes Xcloud. So I would be looking at those value propositions there, where if you're looking to have that secondary console for your kid or even for yourself. I speak to this from the parents' perspective of what are you buying your kids, but also there are other adults out there who want to look at that value perspective. I don't think you can beat $9.99 on Game Pass. And if you're like me, where you generally just don't play games online, that's something that you can look at. You can't play Outriders, obviously, because that's an online-only game. But look at those two price points and see what's good for you. But good for them for finally dropping that. You do still have to have Gold and PS Plus to play other games online, just not free-to-play games.
Yeah, and agreed. And that's where I think, like, it works for certain people, and it also works from a logic standpoint. If the game is free, then I shouldn't have to pay to play the game online when it's an online-only game. That just makes sense. That being said, I'm curious how many people will unsub or play with an account that doesn't have this type of service attached to it. I don't think it's the majority of players or anything like that, but it's nice to have the situation for them to show, like, to show that they understand that cognitive dissonance of, I'm paying for something that I shouldn't have to pay for. So
yeah, that's a stat that I don't know if they release that very often. I'm sure it's findable somewhere. It would be like, how many people are using Xbox Live Silver and how many people are using the PlayStation Network without being PlayStation Plus subscribers, because you can also do Final Fantasy 14 without PS Plus as well, because whenever I first started, I didn't have PS Plus. They bypassed that somehow. But what else is I think it's been too long on this podcast, Patrick, that we should just have a counter that we start of how many episodes we go without talking about Star Wars.
I think without mentioning Star Wars, I don't know if we could go a single episode, but without going to talking about how much we love Star Wars, it's been a minute. And this is one that I absolutely love. So this is a strong rumor now. Unless
Jason Schreier level rumors.
And if it's Jason Schreier, it's probably happening. I almost shared this with the Michael Scott, like, oh my God, it's happening, meme, because this is like one of the greatest games. We're talking about Knights of the Old Republic getting a remake, and there are certain games that deserve a remake because they did not age well at all. And Knights of the Old Republic did not age well. I played this. Played this on my Xbox recently because I couldn't get it to run on my PC, but I could play it on my Xbox. It didn't age well, but the story is so good. If you've never played this, if you don't know anything about the story, I don't know if you can hold off or if someone's ever spoiled it for you, but the story's wonderful.
Revan, baby.
Revan's great. Also, and I know it's tropey, but having the missions, which Mass Effect, BioWare took a lot of the models of this and used it in Mass Effect when it comes to like you're playing a main character and you have your crew on the ship and you go do individual missions to help that crew member get something or make amends or what. It's emotional. It's well done. I don't know if I'd call it well paced. I absolutely loved it though, and I will go play this in a heartbeat. And if they're remaking this, if this is true, I'm going to be extremely happy and hopeful that they'll do KOTOR 2 as a follow up to it. But KOTOR 1, I don't think KOTOR 2 is near as good as the first one. I don't know about you.
I think that you can clearly have the differences. So for those who don't know, KOTOR 1, so just Knights of the Old Republic, that is a BioWare game. And then was it Obsidian that did KOTOR 2?
I think
Obsidian did KOTOR 2. And so while Obsidian is awesome, there was just a definite different feeling when it came to playing 1 versus 2, but in terms of playing 1, it doesn't particularly hold up. The things to know about this is it's being remade by the company, let me get their name right, Aspyr, ASPYR. So what they've actually been doing, I think for several years now, is I think they've actually been porting KOTOR to different platforms. So I think they did the iOS port of it. They also have done some other ports as well. But the fact that they've ported Knights of the Old Republic is at least a good sign, because that means that they've had eyes on that code and stuff already. So they probably have a good idea of the inner workings. I don't think they've ever actually made their own video game. They've been around a long time though.
I wonder if this will be a remake / remaster where, similar to like Demon Souls that Bluepoint did, where it's not a remake, it's not a remaster, and Diablo 2 is similar to that, where it's like, let's take pretty much everything about this game and modernize it, but keep the core of the game. And that works so well with Demon Souls. I hope it'll work with Diablo 2, but this is going to have longevity to a game and a story that'll really work. And yeah, like you mentioned, if they're used to, if they're already familiar with the Old Republic, this is totally going to work.
Yeah, I think I don't know, whatever it is, I'm excited about it. I think that this is a friend. Like, I don't really care if this leads us to 2. I do care if this leads us to 3, though, or just a complete, I don't know. I think that the world needs another Star Wars RPG, and I'm glad that we are getting a remake. So that's great, especially for those who want to go a little nerdy with us in the Living as Nerds podcast, the Revan was recently acknowledged by canon, so he wasn't always canon. And I'm not going to go too much into Revan's story. I don't know if you go dark or light on your Revans, but apparently with what they acknowledged in the movie was most likely Darth Revan.
Yeah. So I do this with any game where you have those types of choices. Mm-hmm. I can't unless I force myself. I can't be a bad guy. Yep. Like my instinct. Like I started playing Mass Effect 2 before I realized, like, oh, if you want to get everything in Mass Effect 2, if you want to, you have to go full Paragon. If you really want to see all this stuff, or full Renegade. I played it and I was almost full Paragon, just doing what I would do instinctually. And then when you have games like this where you go, where your decisions boil down, I have to force myself to be evil. I've done both, but I have to force myself like along that path. Like I have to be like, I'm supposed to hit someone now. How about you?
I can't play dark character. I don't like murdering things. Like even whenever I've been playing like Hitman, right, where I am a murderer by trade, I can't kill other people in the game. Like I can only kill my mark, and so it's just a thing where I don't like uselessly murdering. It's just like how previously on the podcast I've talked about my issues with games like Uncharted 4, where I'm just sneaking around and I sneak up on a dude and break his neck. Some guy who had no ill will towards me whatsoever. He didn't try and shoot me or anything like that. I don't want to kill him. I'm happy to knock him out and throw him in a dumpster like you do in Hitman. So I don't want to do that, but with what happened, so by the way, you can't see this in the movie. Revan isn't actually referenced in episode 9. He's referenced in he or she, you can make a Revan a female, by the way, but is referenced in the visual dictionary for Star Wars. Okay. Where the Sith troopers that are in episode 9, they're part of the 3rd Revan Legion. And so is that Darth Revan? Who knows? But I feel like it is. Sure. If it's not a serious nod, it definitely is that. And Jeremy mentioning in the chat that he wants some Darth Bane anything. I'm with you.
Yes, 100%. I mean, KOTOR and KOTOR 2, like I said, I think the first one I prefer considerably in regards to the story. Similar. Mass Effect 1, better story than Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2 has better gameplay, which I can't wait for that remaster. No, I mean, that's the reason that I played a ton of the Old Republic. I mean, one, it's Star Wars, but because it sets us in the same time frame, around that time frame, it still wasn't as good. And you have a game that has that much money behind it, and the Old Republic wasn't as good as Knights of the Old Republic. And that's why I'm really happy about the remaster, because it's like I feel like I can go back and enjoy it, but other people will get to go play it that would not have done so had it not been remade. I'm all for Darth Bane. I love seeing these characters in cosplay, by the way. Like the 501st does a really good job, in regards to their cosplay. There's obviously drama with any cosplay groups. I'm not going to go into that, but I love seeing these characters because usually people are dressing up as stormtroopers, they're dressing up as Vader, but it's really cool at conventions to see Darth Bane, Mara Jade, and other characters.
It's always been my problem with the 501st and the like, and I understand that everybody wants to cosplay as villains, but I'm like, why would you want to be a dumb bad guy that's just going to get shot?
Yeah,
that's probably part of the joke.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I think part of it's also, in my opinion, there's something really cool if you see one stormtrooper, not really a big deal, but if you see like 4 stormtroopers like marching like down a hallway, there's something cool about that. Like, or if you see Vader, that's cool. You see Vader and he has his stormtroopers around him. There's something, the majesty of the Empire is kind of shown there. It's like, I'm so powerful that I have these guys doing my bidding. It's like Jason Momoa and his bodyguards. You've seen that image going around. You're like, why does he need them? Because he can. There's something really cool about that. I've thought about doing a stormtrooper for that reason, where like if I did it, it would be I'm gonna go to an event where there are a bunch of other stormtroopers because it just looks cooler. The more stormtroopers, the more stuff that's going on. But yeah, I get it. Like you're cosplaying bad guy, and not a bad guy in regards to stormtroopers for the most part. You're like, is this like a bad guy that has like a redemption arc, or like any reason that I should like people cosplaying Loki? I'm like, I get it. He's a bad guy, but he's cool.
Sure.
So.
Now, I guess if you're cosplaying as FN,
yeah, see that
what's
works.
Fenn's number?
Oh shoot, I don't remember. I remember Fenn, but I don't remember. I'm bad with like OG Star Wars. Like I'll be able to pull random stuff. Like we can watch Star Wars, and I'm like, that guy back there. I will name.
I'm mad that I'm like blanking on it because what's her name calls him that several times.
Yeah. Phasma.
FN2187. There we go. Traitor.
Okay. Gotcha. I loved Traitor, by the way, and I also loved that like he got the name Traitor from the fans.
Yeah.
Like that. Like that's just so cool because that's the power. The internet can do some bad things, but the internet does some pretty awesome things. Putting some minds together where, things like that it fits so well. And I don't know if of course someone could have had the idea like on set or like written him into the credits as that, but there's something cool also about like we did that. Like we made an impact. We made an impact on the PS3 store. We had them fix Sonic. Like the internet can do some good things.
What was it that Robert said to us? Like bullying or online bullying works.
It's true. Like the Sonic movie, I liked it. I mean, I was thinking it was going to be bad. The wife was like, "This is going to be terrible." She did the same thing going into watching Monster Hunter, by the way, and she was like, "It wasn't bad. It's not great, but it wasn't bad." What, the Monster Hunter movie?
Yes, it's bad.
There's some good stuff in it.
Fun.
Yeah.
Call it fun.
Sure, we'll call it fun. I mean, I'm not going to recommend it to everybody. Just like Metal Gear Acid, like I'm like, if it's your thing, it's going to be your thing. As a Monster Hunter fan, and a Tony Jaa fan, and a Mila Jovovich fan, and a Ron Perlman fan, like I was like, I like what I'm seeing, but I know it's not great. I'm just I'm just a weeb like that.
As we wrap it up, though, I know next week. So I haven't beaten it, and I don't know if I'm going to, but we'll talk about that more. I played my Ex Libris game for the month of April with Song of the Sea. You played what?
The Evil Within 2.
The Evil Within 2. So next week we'll talk about some news, but we'll also talk about that. And if you don't know what we're talking about, that's where we picked 12 games out of our backlog, one game per month that we already own. So you can't buy new games to participate in this. You're welcome to buy new games, as we are always doing here in the LANCave. But 12 games out of your backlog. So if you want to participate in that, we've done, obviously it's April, so we've done 4 games so far. And it's been fun. I've been playing more than that through my thing, but just picking out games specifically. I bought this at some point on some random sale, and I never got around to playing it. It's a lot of fun, so check that out with us, and then let us know: are you going to go light Revan, or are you going to go dark Revan when KOTOR comes out? You got to let us know.
Don't everybody say both. Tell us what you're doing first. Say, because some people
you can't say both. No, there's it's just like with Shep. Like you're either Fem Shep or you're male Shep. It doesn't matter if you do both. It's Fem Shep, by the way.
I was male Shep until recently. Fem Shep is better.
What are you going to be doing in the remastered trilogy?
I'll probably do Fem Shep.
I'll
probably do Fem Shep. Like I was just used to. Yeah,
Jeremy says dark, by the way.
Okay, like I would say, for me for Shep it was like I knew that it was a choice, but like so much of the marketing materials and stuff were like were that version where I was like, I want to see this, and then I realized that's just what they're showing you, and then that's not what everyone's playing. So yeah, I'm gonna do FemShip next time. Because you can you can still ship everybody. So what does it matter? Because
it matters because FemShip is superior. No, I'm just
FemShip
from
is
what
superior.
In my opinion, I think her voice acting's better. But
yeah, also let us know in the comments, who do you romance in Mass Effect?
Bring it all. Bring it all. We want it all.
See you next time, guys.
Bye.